This season on government tyranny. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Massachusetts is no longer the only state with lockdowns and curfews over mosquitoes. Vermont has joined in, including the state's largest city. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel with a story I honestly did not see coming. When I did my last video, linked up here, about the new lockdowns and curfews hitting the Northeast, I was surprised, but it made sense to me, at least, that it was Massachusetts doing it. As a former Massachusetts resident, yeah, it's pretty on par. But Vermont, I honestly expected Rhode Island before Vermont, but Vermont is going so far as to even apparently cancel Oktoberfest over mosquitoes. The official state website says that government officials are only, quote, strongly recommending limiting your time outdoors, but 5 towns have already placed 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfews on their residents. They say that this is because more mosquitoes are testing positive for EEE this year than in past years. Per healthvermont.gov, Vermont continues to see much higher numbers of mosquitoes testing positive for EEE virus this year compared to previous years, affecting more areas of the state. Risk levels are based on the sustained numbers of EEE positive tests of mosquitoes in these towns, in addition to the person infected with EEE in Chittenden County. 2 people in surrounding states have also recently been infected, one in Massachusetts and one in New Hampshire, who has died. This season, there have already been 47 groups of mosquitoes that tested positive for EEE virus across 11 towns, compared with 14 groups across 3 towns that tested positive in 2023. The Vermont Agency of Agriculture, Food and Market has been increasing its collection efforts of mosquitoes, which are tested at the Department of Health laboratory. Additional testing could increase the number of towns at high risk in the coming days and weeks. So if I'm reading that correctly, they are testing more mosquitoes and thus also finding more mosquitoes carrying the virus. Now, before I go into the rest of the details, this video is brought to you by the attorneys on retainer, the people that you want in your corner if you ever find yourself in a self-defense incident. These folks are actual attorneys whose entire job it is to give you legal advice and represent you if you have to use your gun in self-defense. They are not an insurance company, so their only requirements are that the incident happened after you signed up and that you reasonably acted within good faith. They are not there to protect their own butts with fine print or liability, and you are not sent through an insurance adjuster before a lawyer even looks at your case, which is typically what happens with insurance companies. They cover everything from felonies to misdemeanors, appeals, and even bail bonds. So switch over from your existing self-defense coverage, head on over to my link down in the description, and use code LibertyDoll to get $50 off your individual sign-up. The government press release also says that they're evaluating whether spraying for mosquitoes is the best course of action. In the meantime, they are recommending curfews for high-risk areas and for everyone else to wear long sleeves, bug spray, fix window screens, and dump out any standing water, which are kind of obvious things. The towns that have followed through with the curfews are Sudbury, Alberg, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Burlington, Colchester, and Swanton. Well, okay, I shouldn't say towns, and I said towns in the intro as well. It's not just towns, because Burlington is the state's largest city. Governor Phil Scott says, obviously, this disease is dangerous, but it's not widespread at this point. We should acknowledge that it's there and take precautions, and has advised residents to listen to the government curfews. Originally, these curfews were just over EEE concerns. Now there is a guy in New Hampshire who is very sick in the hospital and has tested positive for antibodies of 3 different mosquito illnesses, including EEE and West Nile, so expect this to get worse, I guess, though I don't know, there's going to be frost soon, so we'll see. But now they're also pulling out the West Nile states and saying how 8 people in Europe have caught West Nile and died. At least 3 of those people are over the age of 71, with 2 of them being over 85. Still, sad and tragic, but like I said in my last video about this is all feeling a little too familiar. They're also again pointing to kids under 15 and people over 50 as the folks at the highest risk, which are the people that are usually at highest risk for most communicable diseases. Though I guess I have to give them a little marketing credit, as this time around they're going with the phrase areas under health warning instead of curfew or nighttime lockdown. Doesn't have the same ring to it. High-risk towns with the curfews are canceling or rescheduling outdoor events until after the first frost. The Swanton Recreation Center has canceled all activities after 6 p.m. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Burlington's Oktoberfest is canceled. Burlington also canceled a big event that was scheduled earlier this week, and schools are also canceling or rescheduling sports practice and athletic events. Any events that can be moved indoors are scrambling looking for locations. At least, when speaking about the illness, Vermont has been a little more honest and forthcoming with the information, and not quite as fear-mongery, telling the Vermont Digger, "One important distinction when discussing EEE is that not everyone who gets the virus shows symptoms, and not everyone who shows symptoms gets encephalitis, the most severe complication of the disease," state epidemiologist Patsy Kelso told the outlet. In fact, most people with the virus do not develop symptoms. If they do, the incubation period is typically around 4 to 10 days, when they typically start to see indicators like a fever, chills, and joint pain. Still, Kelso recommended that people with these symptoms contact their doctor to rule out other causes and keep an eye on the course of the illness. Only 5% of symptomatic patients get encephalitis, which includes a more severe fever, stiff neck, a really bad headache, seizures, and vomiting, Kelso said. People who develop these symptoms should seek medical care immediately. Of the patients who develop encephalitis, about 1/3 die. So what we're looking at is you have symptomatic and asymptomatic cases. Of these symptomatic cases, 5% of those get the encephalitis, and then 1/3 of that 5% are the ones for, unfortunately, that it is fatal. So there's a little number game there that is very different from all the sky is falling statements and reports out of Massachusetts. So again, credit where credit is due, I guess. It's the little things. At any rate, Vermont last had any fatalities from EEE back in 2012. All right, folks, that is it for this video. Maybe the lockdowns will be over for election season. I don't know. At least voting is during the day, so hypothetically it shouldn't affect anything, but time will tell. I know that was a theory that was floated in the comments of the last video that I did on this. At any rate, you guys know the drill for all of the algorithm things. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring that notification bell and drop a comment down below. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in and happy shooting.